I'm Matt with eTrailer, and today we're talking about the eTrailer tilting and folding Hitch Cargo Carrier on the back of our 2023 Jeep Gladiator. Now this is going to be a great option for you if you are looking for a larger style carrier and you want to keep any items from being inside your bed, outside of your bed. This is going to help solve that. Or if you're running out of space in your bed, this is going to help you out. So let's check it out. Our carrier today is going to have a capacity of up to 500 pounds. So it's going to be able to carry quite a bit. What I recommend doing though is just checking how much your vehicle can carry and then going from the lowest rated component. And it's also going to be made out of a steel, so that steel is going to be able to hold up to that. And it's going to have this black powder coat finish to it. And that finish is going to help it be more rust resistant. Now there are a few cases where that finish could come up. If you're putting anything in here that's sharper, maybe made out of metal, that could scrape against this and have some of that finish come up. Or if you have any straps and they have metal hooks at the very end, that metal hook could scrape some of that finish up too, which would make it more prone to rusting, so definitely keep an eye on that. But we're going to have a lot of great tie-off points since it is made out of steel, because we're going to have some pretty sturdy rungs across the sides and these ones going up as well. What I don't recommend using is this mesh on the bottom. Well, it does feel pretty sturdy. The only thing is if you use this for a lot of trips, over time I'm sure that mesh is going to start to bend and warp. Something that's going to set this carrier apart from the other ones is that tilt feature. And to use that, you'll notice we have two pins. One's going to keep our rack in place, preventing it from bouncing off. So I'm going to remove that one. And then the second one is going to be to make sure that it doesn't tilt away. So if I remove both of those pins, you notice we have the ability to tilt. And that's in case you can't access your tailgate with it up. But in our case, we still have plenty of room to open up our tailgate. So even if it didn't tilt, we'd still be able to open that up. Let's talk about how this is going to sit on the back of the Gladiator. As you can see, the distance between the carrier and our vehicle is going to be a decent amount. If you had to step in between here, you're going to have that ability. But the caveat off of that is it's going to stick out quite a bit. So if I go from our back bumper to the end of the carrier, that's going to stick out just about 41.5 inches. So that's going to be quite a bit. So definitely think about that if you're in a lot of situations, especially if you're in a tight spot like a parking spot or garage. Now we can talk about ground clearance too. And for our ground clearance, we actually have a rise to our shank, so this is going to sit up a little bit higher. And that's going to be about 20 inches. So if you do load this up with quite a bit, that's going to drop down maybe an inch or two, but you're still going to have plenty of clearance. Now if you are worried about how much space is going to take up all the time, maybe if you're already dropped off whatever you're hauling, you can actually fold this up. The way we can do that is if I just come back here and just pull these two pins, the same ones we used to tilt it away earlier, then I'll have that ability. If I just put it up here now it's going to sit a lot closer to our vehicle. Sometimes it is a little bit tricky to line it back up though, just because that powder coat finish can be a little bit thick in some spots. But once you eventually get it through, we'll be able to get that measurement. And we can get that distance from our back bumper to the back of the carrier, which is only going to sit at about 16 inches. So that's going to save you a lot of space. As for how it's going to interact on the back of our vehicle right now, it's going to block quite a bit. So we're going to block our license plates and our backup camera. Now you might be able to see our license plates since we do have this mesh backing to it, but seeing out of your backup camera is going to be very difficult. So what I recommend is just either using your back window or your mirrors. And of course you won't be able to open up your tailgate either. How it's going to install is we're going to have this collar that wraps around our shank. And what that is to stop it from going in too far. And you can actually adjust this with these two wing nuts at the top. That's really nice. If you are taking this off quite a bit, then you'll be able to tell how far it's going to go, and you don't have to worry about matching up with that hole. Speaking of that, we're going to have an anti-rattle bolt that goes right through that hole, and we're going to have this lock nut at the very end of it, and that's going to use a 3/4 inch nut. So, and what that's going to do is prevent a lot of that rattling from occurring on this rack. And of course, we are going to get a little bit of up and down rattling, but that's not going to be too crazy. And if you are fully loading this up, it shouldn't be too bad. Now overall, I think this is going to be a great option for you if you do plan on carrying a lot more items, because this is pretty large. And if you want to open up your tailgate at the same time, because as you saw earlier, we can actually load this up pretty high and not block access to our tailgate. Let's just look at the eTrailer folding and tilting cargo carrier on the back of our 2023 Jeep Gladiator. Thanks for watching.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement.